Hello and welcome. Just when we thought the bad news had come to an end, here's yet another one. In today's video, we're going to discuss a topic that we've touched on several times this week: the end of Nintendo Switch emulation. This time, the developer behind Sudachi announced that, after enduring multiple attacks from other communities, there will be just one final version of the emulator before it's shut down for good. The developer, Jared, explained that various other project communities have been relentlessly attacking him, often without any valid reason, which has driven him to abandon the project. He also mentioned that his code has been copied by other projects without proper credit, and this has further contributed to his decision to step down. We've seen similar situations before, like with Ryujinx and Yuzu, where fixes were applied from one emulator to the other without initial acknowledgement, but in the past, these teams were able to work things out more amicably. However, this time, it seems things have spiraled out of control. Jared has criticized certain projects that he claims are merely clones of Yuzu or Sudachi, without real modifications, just rebranded with a new name. I've seen this happen myself, and I often get criticized when I warn people not to trust projects with shady or dubious development. In previous tests, we've seen that Sudachi didn't offer massive performance gains compared to the latest version of Yuzu. However, the ones who lose the most with the end of this project are the community members themselves. Many new games that didn't run on Yuzu or Sudachi were made playable thanks to Sudachi's work, and there were also improvements in accuracy. Even though many of these improvements were subtle to the average user, they were essential for long-term compatibility. With new releases and firmware updates, if emulators aren't updated to support these new versions, new games simply won't work. For example, if Metroid Prime 4 releases with a firmware higher than version 18, which is currently the last supported by emulators, the game won't be detected, making it impossible to play. While it's possible to downgrade firmware in some cases, Nintendo might implement protections that render these methods ineffective, making it even harder to emulate new titles. Just like with AetherSX2, the emulation scene is losing another major project. In AetherSX2's case, it was due to the toxicity of the Android community, which even went so far as to threaten the developer and his family. In the case of Sudachi, the attacks were also directed at the developer. But in this case, he also made accusations against other projects. Whether those accusations are valid or not, it's not our place to judge. The fact remains that, once again, it's us, the emulation community, who are losing out. While we can still play most of the titles released so far, the future remains uncertain. And the question we should be asking is, who are the real enemies here? Is it Nintendo, or is it the emulation community itself? We need to reflect on this. I've personally had issues with the community, especially with Cemu, back when my channel was still small and freshly monetized. And I know many friends who have gone through similar situations, being mistreated either by emulator developers or by the communities themselves. Running a community nowadays is really challenging, especially in something as niche as emulation. Oftentimes, the community is very impatient. Just this week, for example, there was an incident on Discord where someone asked for help at an inconvenient time and, within minutes, left, complaining that no one had assisted them. If you're this type of person, it's important to rethink your attitude because this impatience can end up hurting something you truly enjoy, like a project that is providing free entertainment. There may come a time, whether soon or far off, when a new project or team emerges with the capability to significantly improve emulators like Yuzu or Ryujinx. However, at this moment, we can confidently say that Switch emulation on Windows is effectively dead for new games. And if the situation is already difficult on Windows, it's even worse on Android. Developer Jared mentioned that once things progress with Strato, he plans to contribute to the project. However, given the current circumstances, we can deduce two things. If the project is released now, it's highly likely that Nintendo will try to shut it down the day after its launch, and there's also the possibility that this project may never see the light of day. At this moment, we are surrounded by uncertainty on all sides. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.
Looks like the other forts have dragon beams. We should unleash them as well.